Welcome to Secular ACA. I'm Bill. I'm making a series of videos to introduce Secular ACA. I want the world to know about the amazing gift of healing that Secular ACA can give to those folks who suffer from the psychic damage caused by having been raised in a dysfunctional family. I know that the program works because I've worked it. In these videos, I'll explain the principles of Secular ACA, and I'll also tell you my story of recovery. So first, what is Secular ACA? Secular ACA is a modification of Adult Children of Alcoholics. I'll call that program Traditional ACA to keep the two programs separate. Traditional ACA is a spin-off of Alcoholics Anonymous, or AA, which is the original 12-step program. Traditional ACA is not affiliated with AA, but it uses a similar 12-step approach to recovery. Secular ACA, then, is also a 12-step program. It follows many of the principles and much of the method for recovery as Traditional ACA. Both programs are open to anyone who seeks recovery from the psychic damage caused by having been raised in a dysfunctional family. Both programs are free, non-professional, and depend on self-organizing and self-funding groups and meetings. Secular ACA is different than Traditional ACA because Secular ACA eliminates all the ideas and terms from religion, metaphysics, the supernatural, or other forms of mystical thinking. Sometimes defenders of Traditional ACA say it's not a religious program, but it really is. In fact, it's a Christian program. The main book for Traditional ACA is called The Big Red Book, or BRB. That book is full of references to God, but it never mentions Allah, Hashem, Yahweh, Shiva, or the Great Spirit in the sky. The BRB is written from a Christian point of view and with a lot of Christian ideas and vocabulary. But Secular ACA is free of any Christian or other religious influences. I don't say that Secular ACA is scientific because, as far as I know, its principles have never been tested in any long-term, large-scale studies. However, its principles are realistic and pragmatic in the sense that they are taken from the successful practices of Traditional ACA and other ACA programs. Secular ACA also draws from evolutionary psychology, which itself is influenced by Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. I will discuss this further in future videos. Secular ACA is based on the principle that full recovery is possible without such words as God or any type of higher power. Secular ACA doesn't tell you to ask for help from some kind of spirit in the sky. Instead of leaning on a higher power, Secular ACA shows you how to recover by activating your own natural healing power. Like the body, the mind can heal if proper methods of care are followed. Also, I'll discuss this further in future videos. One of the concerns I have about ACA is the title, Adult Children of Alcoholics. That title probably seemed like a good idea at the time when ACA was founded back in 1978, just because much of its methods and principles were derived from AA. One problem is the word alcoholics. That term seems to limit ACA's appeal to one small group of hurting people, those whose childhood trauma was caused by alcoholic parental figures. Actually, the recovery program for both traditional ACA and secular ACA is meant for adult children from all sorts of dysfunctional families, whether alcohol was a factor or not. So when I talk about secular ACA, I'll consider a family with one or more parents being alcoholic as just one type of dysfunctional family. Parents might be dysfunctional for a variety of reasons. They might have a mental illness, or be drug addicts, or be extreme narcissists, or something else. Secular ACA is less concerned with why the parents were dysfunctional and highly concerned about showing the victims how to heal. That's its main mission. Incidentally, the use of the term adult children or adult child can be helpful for a person's recovery. It can be a reminder that the victim of dysfunctional parenting carries within herself or himself a wounded inner child. That is the cause of the adult's emotional distress or self-defeating behavior or other symptoms. If a person puts up an ego barrier based on some kind of pride about being an adult and not a child, then overcoming that self-imposed barrier can be a significant step towards recovery. So I think it's important for a person in secular ACA to accept that they are an adult child. As we will see, recovery depends on getting in touch with your wounded inner child and learning how to reparent it. In the next video, I'll tell you about the formation of my wounded inner child. I'll explain how that inner child drove my behavior as a young person, mostly a teen. There was a period after my teens when I began to reflect on who I was, but this self-reflection stayed mired in confusion for quite a while. Eventually, I started to get in touch with my deeper feelings, especially my anger and pain. Only after I began to attend traditional ACA meetings did I start to make significant progress in learning about myself. The two most important concepts I learned were that of the wounded inner child and that the road to recovery consists in reparenting that wounded inner child. I felt some discomfort in traditional ACA meetings because I was a scientific-minded atheist, taking part in recovery practices that were loaded with Christian terms and doctrines. So for my own comfort with the program, I started filtering out the religious stuff in my mind. Gradually, I came to see that the principles that were working for me could be stated in a secular context. For my recovery, the religious stuff was irrelevant. As I became more adept at reparenting my wounded inner child, a feeling of wholeness that I never knew was possible began to emerge in me. I learned that this feeling of wholeness is one of the rewards for working the program well. So in the next video, I'll start the story of my journey from the beginning. I'll have more to say about secular ACA too. For now, I'll close with the secular ACA Serenity affirmation. Today I seek serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. Keep coming back. It works if you work it, and you're worth it.